The thing about finding out your whole marriage is a lie is that it happens in the most ordinary moments. For me, it happened while looking for a bathroom in my mother-in-law's oversized house, wearing a bright green dress I had bought specifically to please her, because heaven forbid I show up in something she considered inappropriate. I could hear voices coming from the study, and at first I thought nothing of it. Rich people always had little meetings during dinners. But then I heard my name and I stopped walking. Naomi actually thinks we respect her. That was Vanessa, my sister-in-law, her voice dripping with amusement. It's almost sad how hard she tries. I pressed myself against the hallway wall, my heart suddenly pounding so hard I thought they might hear it through the door. The New Year's party will be perfect, Patricia, my mother-in-law, said. Her voice had that particular quality she used when she was planning something. I had heard it before, usually right before some family member got publicly embarrassed for not meeting her standards. We have the photos, the timeline, everything. When we show everyone that Naomi has been cheating on Brandon, no one will question the divorce. My blood ran cold. Photos? Timeline? I had never cheated on anyone in my life. Are you sure the pictures look real? That was Brandon. My husband. The man I had loved for 7 years, married for 5. The man I had supported through business school, the man whose family business I had helped grow with my marketing expertise. Darling, they look very real, Patricia assured him. We paid good money for them. That photographer knew exactly what we needed. Pictures of Naomi entering a hotel with some man, getting into a car with him, having lunch. From a distance, no one will question it. And once her reputation is destroyed, you can divorce her, keep the business, and marry Rachel properly. Rachel. The name hit me like a physical blow. Rachel from Brandon's office. The woman he claimed was just a colleague. The woman he had been texting at all hours, taking phone calls about in the middle of the night, having business dinners, with 3 times a week. I still think we should just tell her to leave, Brandon said. He sounded bored, like they were discussing what to have for dinner, not plotting to destroy someone's life. All this seems like a lot of work. Brandon, use your brain for once, Vanessa snapped. If you just divorce her, she gets half of everything. If we prove she cheated, she gets nothing. And everyone in our social circle will ostracize her. She will be ruined. That's what she deserves for thinking she could ever really be part of this family. What did we ever see in her? Patricia mused. I mean, I know you thought she was pretty, Brandon, but really, she is so ordinary. Rachel comes from a good family. She understands our world. I had heard enough. Actually, I had heard too much, but my feet would not move. I stood there, frozen, listening to the 3 people who were supposed to be my family casually discuss destroying my entire life. The worst part was not even the fake evidence or the planned humiliation. It was how easy it was for them. How little they cared. Mother, the party is in 2 weeks, Brandon said. You are sure everything will be ready? Positive. We will reveal everything at midnight. I have already prepared the presentation. Everyone who matters will be there. By the time the night is over, Naomi will be so humiliated she will probably leave town. And then you and Rachel can finally be together properly. Good, Brandon said. I am tired of sneaking around. Rachel is getting impatient. They laughed then, all 3 of them, and something inside me shattered. Not my heart exactly. That would come later. Right then, what broke was whatever part of me had been trying so hard to fit into this family, to be good enough, to earn their respect. I walked back to the dining room on autopilot. The dinner table was full of Brandon's extended family, all dressed in expensive clothes, all wearing fake smiles. I had spent 5 years attending these dinners, trying to laugh at the right jokes, complimenting Patricia's decorating choices, pretending I did not notice how they excluded me from family photos or forgot to invite me to important events. There you are, dear, Patricia said as she walked back into the room moments after me. Her smile was so sweet it could have caused diabetes. We were wondering where you had gone. Just needed a moment, I said, picking up my wine glass with a steady hand. Inside I was screaming. Outside I was calm. Brandon reached over and squeezed my hand. You okay, babe? I looked at him. Really looked at him. At his handsome face that I had kissed goodbye every morning. At his eyes that I had once thought were full of love. At his lying, cheating, backstabbing face. I am fine, I said, smiling. Actually, I am better than fine. I just realized something important. What's that? He asked, not really caring about the answer. That I have been wasting my time, I said. But not anymore. He laughed, thinking I was making a joke. You are weird sometimes, you know that? Yeah, I said softly. I know. I made it through the rest of dinner. I laughed at Patricia's boring stories. I complimented Vanessa's new haircut even though it looked terrible. I played the perfect daughter-in-law one last time. And when Brandon drove us home that night, he had no idea that the woman sitting next to him in the car was already planning his downfall. "That was not so bad, was it?" he said as we pulled into our driveway. "No," I agreed. "Not bad at all." That night, I lay in bed next to my husband listening to him snore, and I made myself a promise. They wanted to humiliate me. They wanted to destroy me. They wanted to take everything I had worked for and throw me away like garbage. Well, two could play that game. But I was going to play it better. By the time I was done, Brandon and his family would wish they had just let me walk away quietly. Because if they thought I was going to roll over and let them ruin me, they did not know me at all. I spent 7 years being the nice girl, the understanding wife, the woman who swallowed her pride and accepted their subtle insults with a smile. That woman died tonight in Patricia's hallway. The woman who would wake up tomorrow had a very different plan. And it started with 3 words I kept repeating in my head like a mantra: gather the evidence. The morning after the dinner, I woke up with absolute clarity. Brandon was already gone for his early meeting, which I now realized probably meant he was with Rachel. That gave me time to start investigating. I began with his laptop. Brandon was not particularly careful with his passwords. He used the same one for everything: his mother's birthday combined with the year they founded the family business. It took me less than 5 minutes to get into his email. What I found there made my stomach turn. Months of emails between Brandon and Rachel. Love notes. Plans to be together. Discussions about their future once the Naomi situation was handled. There were hotel receipts, restaurant bills, even a receipt for jewelry I had never seen. A bracelet he had bought Rachel that cost more than the ring he had proposed to me with. I did not cry. I had no tears left for this man. Instead, I took screenshots of everything. Every email. Every receipt. Every disgusting message where they laughed about me. But I needed more than emails. I needed proof that would hold up legally and socially. I needed something so solid that even Patricia's money could not make it disappear. That is when I called Jerome. Jerome Washington was a private investigator I had met 2 years ago at a charity event. We had talked about his work and he had given me his card, joking that I should call him if I ever needed to catch a cheating spouse. At the time, I had laughed and thrown the card in my purse, never thinking I would need it. I found that card now and dialed his number. "Washington Investigations," he answered on the second ring. "Hi Jerome. This is Naomi Fletcher. We met at the Children's Hospital fundraiser 2 years ago." "I remember you," he said warmly. "What can I do for you?" "I need to hire you. My husband is having an affair and I need proof. Lots of it. And I need it fast." "How fast?" "I have less than 2 weeks." There was a pause. "That is quick. But I can do it. When can we meet?" We arranged to meet that afternoon at a coffee shop across town where no one from Brandon's circle would see us. I spent the rest of the morning acting normal, cleaning the house, responding to work emails. When Brandon called to say he would be home late, I told him it was fine. I told him I loved him. I played my part perfectly. Meeting Jerome felt like the first honest thing I had done in days. He was a tall man with kind eyes and a professional manner that put me at ease immediately. "Tell me everything," he said, pulling out a notepad. I did. I told him about the dinner, about overhearing their plan, about Rachel, about the fake evidence they were creating. I showed him the emails I had found. His expression grew darker as I talked. "This family sounds like a real piece of work," he said when I finished. "They are. But I need to be smarter than them. Can you help me?" "Absolutely. I will put my best people on this. We will follow your husband, document everything with Rachel, get video evidence, track their movements. If they are meeting at hotels, I will get proof. If they are spending company money on this affair, I will find the paper trail. 2 weeks is tight, but if they are as careless as you say, we will have everything you need." "Thank you," I said, feeling relief for the first time since the dinner. "One more thing," Jerome said. "You should talk to a lawyer. Get your legal ducks in a row. Do you have someone you trust?" I thought about it. Most of the lawyers I knew were connected to Brandon's family somehow. But then I remembered Simone. Simone Carter and I had been friends in college. She had gone to law school, specialized in family law, and now ran her own practice. We had lost touch over the years, mainly because Patricia had disapproved of my inappropriate friendships, and I had been stupid enough to let her isolate me. I called Simone that evening from my car, parked at a grocery store where I was supposedly picking up ingredients for dinner. "Naomi?" Simone's voice was surprised but happy. "Oh my God, it has been forever." "I know. I am sorry I have been such a terrible friend. Don't apologize. What's going on? You sound stressed. I need a divorce lawyer. A really good one. And I need someone I can trust completely. The happiness left her voice, replaced by professional concern. Tell me everything. I did. Just like with Jerome, I laid it all out. The affair, the planned humiliation, the fake evidence, everything. Those absolute monsters, Simone said when I finished. Okay, here's what we are going to do. First, do not let on that you know anything. Keep playing the devoted wife. Second, gather every financial document you can find. Bank statements, business records, tax returns, everything. Third, start moving your personal assets to a separate account. Open one in your name only at a different bank. Can I do that legally? If it is your money, absolutely. Do you work? I do marketing for the family business. I helped grow it significantly over the past 5 years. Good. That means you are entitled to compensation for your contribution. Do you have documentation of your work? Yes. Emails, reports, campaign results. I saved everything. Perfect. Send me copies of all of it. We are going to make sure you get everything you deserve. And Naomi? Yeah. You're going to be okay. Better than okay. You are going to come out of this strong. For the first time since that terrible dinner, I felt something like hope. Over the next week, I became a different person. During the day, I was the same Naomi everyone expected. I smiled at Brandon. I went to work. I had lunch with Vanessa where she pretended to be my friend while probably plotting my destruction. I attended a charity event with Patricia and acted grateful for her including me. But at night, I was someone else. I was a woman gathering evidence. I copied financial records while Brandon slept. I met with Jerome to review the photos and videos his team was collecting. Brandon and Rachel were not careful at all. They met at the same hotel every Tuesday and Thursday. They had lunch together almost daily. There were hundreds of photos now, clear evidence of an ongoing affair. I also met with Simone, who helped me understand my legal rights. Because I had contributed significantly to the business, I was entitled to a portion of its value. Because Brandon was having an affair, I would likely get a favorable divorce settlement. Because they were planning to defame me with false evidence, I potentially had grounds for a lawsuit. But I do not want to sue them, I told Simone. I just want to expose them and walk away. That's your choice, she said. But at least you know your options. I also did something else. I started planning my exit from their world completely. I reached out to former colleagues and clients, quietly putting together a plan to start my own marketing consulting business. I looked at apartments. I opened new bank accounts and started transferring money. I organized all my personal belongings in my mind, figuring out what I would take and what I would leave behind. Everything was falling into place. A week before the New Year's party, Jerome called me with an update. We have everything, he said. Videos, photos, financial records showing misuse of company funds for the affair, phone records, everything. This evidence is solid. Good, I said. Because I am going to need it. That same day, I met with a tech specialist named Darius that Jerome had recommended. Darius was a young guy with impressive skills and a love for justice. So you want to put together a presentation? He asked. Yes. A video presentation that shows everything. The affair, the evidence, the timeline. I want it to be clear and undeniable. Can you do that? Can I do that? Lady, I can make this thing look like a Netflix documentary. When do you need it? New Year's Eve. He grinned. This is going to be good. Planning revenge is like planning a wedding, I realized. Both require attention to detail, perfect timing, and making sure every element works together. The difference is that one celebrates love and the other buries it. I spent every spare moment over the next few days perfecting my plan. Darius worked on the video presentation, weaving together all the evidence Jerome had gathered. Phone records showing thousands of calls between Brandon and Rachel. Photos of them kissing outside hotels. Videos of them holding hands at restaurants. Financial documents showing Brandon had been using company money to pay for their affair. But the video also included something else. Audio recordings. Jerome had managed to bug Brandon's car, completely legal since I was technically co-owner of the vehicle. The recordings were devastating. Brandon and Rachel discussing their future together. Brandon complaining about me, calling me boring and clingy. Rachel laughing about how I had no idea what was happening. Them discussing the plan to humiliate me at the party, with Brandon expressing zero guilt about destroying my reputation with lies. This is going to ruin them, Darius said, showing me the rough cut. Are you sure you want to go this hard? They were planning to ruin me with fake evidence, I said. I am just using the truth. He nodded approvingly. Fair enough. When do you want this delivered? I will let you know. I need to figure out the perfect moment. I also worked with Simone on the legal documents. She prepared divorce papers, citing adultery and requesting a fair division of assets including my share of the business I had helped build. She also prepared a resignation letter from the family business and documentation showing exactly how much value I had added over the years. These numbers are impressive, Simone said, reviewing my work portfolio. You basically tripled their revenue through your marketing campaigns. I know. And they think they can just push me out and keep everything. Not happening. With this documentation and the evidence of Brandon's affair, you have a strong case. But the legal victory was not enough for me. I wanted them to feel what I felt that night in Patricia's hallway. I wanted them humiliated in front of everyone who mattered to them. I wanted them exposed. So I planned the perfect delivery. I ordered a large, beautiful gift box, the kind you see at expensive stores. Deep blue with silver ribbon. Inside, I placed individual folders for each family member. Patricia's folder contained evidence of how she had orchestrated the fake evidence plot, including emails to the photographer she had hired. Vanessa's folder showed how she had been embezzling small amounts from the family business for years, something I had discovered while gathering financial records. Brandon's folder was the thickest, containing everything about his affair and financial misconduct. But I also included something else. A flash drive containing the full video presentation, labeled "The Truth About Brandon Fletcher." The final touch was a letter. Not emotional or angry, just factual and cold. By the time you read this, everyone you know has seen the evidence of who you really are. You tried to destroy me with lies. I am destroying you with truth. Enjoy the rest of your lives. I did not sign it. I did not need to. I also took care of myself during this time, which felt strange but necessary. I went shopping and bought clothes for my new life. Bright colors that I loved but had stopped wearing because Patricia said they were too bold. A beautiful red dress for the party itself. A green pantsuit for my first day at my new business. A blue dress just because I loved it. I got my hair done, treating myself to the expensive salon I usually avoided. I bought new shoes. I opened a separate credit card that Brandon did not know about. I slowly moved my things to a storage unit, taking only items that truly mattered to me. Photo albums from before I met Brandon. My college diploma. My grandmother's jewelry. Everything else could stay. One evening, while Brandon was at another late meeting, I sat in our living room and really looked at it. This house had never felt like home. Patricia had decorated it, choosing every piece of furniture, every paint color. I had tried to add personal touches, but somehow they always disappeared or got replaced during her visits. Good. I would not miss this place. I called my mother that night. Lorraine Thompson had never liked Brandon or his family, though she had been too polite to say it directly. But I had seen it in her eyes every time they dismissed something I said or made a subtle jab at my background. "Mom," I said when she answered. "I need to tell you something." "What's wrong, baby?" I told her everything. Unlike when I told Jerome and Simone, this time I cried. Because this was my mother, and with her I did not have to be strong. "Oh, Naomi," she said softly. "I'm so sorry. But I am also proud of you." "Proud of me?" "Yes. Because you are not letting them break you. You are fighting back. That takes courage." "I'm scared, Mom. What if the plan does not work? What if everyone sides with them?" "Baby, anyone who sides with them after seeing the truth is not worth having in your life anyway. You are about to find out who your real friends are. And I promise you, your father and I and Kenneth, we are on your side no matter what." Speaking of Kenneth, my brother called me the next day. Mom had clearly told him everything. "I want to break his face," Kenneth said immediately. "No violence, Kenny. That is not the plan." "Fine. But I want to be there. At the party. Someone from your real family should be there to support you. You will not be invited." "I do not care. I will crash it if I have to. You are not doing this alone." His support meant everything. I had spent so long trying to fit into Brandon's world that I had neglected my own family. That would change. The week before the party, I met with Jerome one final time to review everything. "We have enough evidence to bury them 10 times over," he said. "Are you ready for this?" "I have to be." They certainly were ready to bury me. True. One thing though. You need to be prepared for the fallout. This is going to get messy. I know. But I am done being the one who gets hurt while they walk away clean. Good. Then let's do this. I paid Jerome in full for his work, along with a generous bonus. I paid Darius for the video. I paid Simone a retainer for the divorce proceedings. I was spending money, but it was worth it. This was an investment in my future. Christmas came and went in a blur. I had to sit through Christmas Eve dinner at Patricia's house, watching them all pretend to care about me while knowing they were counting down to my planned destruction. Vanessa gave me a gift, a cheap scarf she had probably grabbed at a drugstore. Patricia gave me a book on being a better hostess, which I almost laughed at. Brandon gave me diamond earrings. Probably the same store where he bought Rachel's bracelet. "These are beautiful," I said, kissing his cheek. "Thank you, honey." "You deserve them," he said, looking guilty for half a second before the expression vanished. "You have been so good to me." I wanted to throw the earrings at his face. Instead, I wore them to Christmas dinner and smiled for the family photos that I would never see anyway because Patricia would edit me out like she always did. On December 30th, I moved the last of my important belongings out of the house while Brandon was at work. The storage unit was full now. My car had a bag packed with essentials. I had a new apartment lease signed, starting January 2nd. I had a business plan written and clients already lined up. I had filed all the legal paperwork ready to be served. Everything was in place. That evening Brandon came home with flowers. "For my beautiful wife," he said, kissing me. "I love you, you know that?" "I know," I said, taking the flowers. They were cheap, wilted at the edges. He had probably grabbed them at a gas station on the way home. "Tomorrow is going to be great," he continued. "The party, bringing in the new year together. Starting fresh." Yes, I agreed. Very fresh. He had no idea how fresh things were about to get. That night I barely slept. I kept going over the plan in my head. The box would be delivered at 11:30. Patricia and Vanessa would open it, thinking it was a gift from a guest. They would see the folders and start looking through them. Around that time, I would announce I had a special presentation. The video would play on the large screen in Patricia's ballroom. Everyone would see everything. And then I would walk out, leaving them to deal with the consequences. It was simple, really. Elegant, even. They had tried to destroy me with lies. I was going to destroy them with truth. As I lay in bed next to Brandon for the last time, I felt strangely calm. This man had promised to love me forever. He had stood at an altar and made vows. And he had thrown all of it away for someone else, without even having the decency to tell me the truth. Well, the truth was about to come out. All of it. Tomorrow night, at midnight, while everyone else was celebrating the new year, the Fletcher family would be dealing with their new reality. And I would be free. The morning of New Year's Eve arrived with deceptive normalcy. Sunlight streamed through the bedroom windows. Brandon woke up cheerful, kissing my forehead before heading to shower. From the bathroom he called out details about the party. "Mom wants us there by 7 to greet guests. You know how she is about timing." "Of course," I called back, staring at the ceiling. This was it. The last day of my old life. I got up and made breakfast, something I had done hundreds of times. Eggs, toast, coffee. Brandon came down wearing a nice suit, already dressed for the day. He had meetings, he said. Last-minute business before the holiday. I nodded and smiled and watched him eat, wondering how someone could look so normal while being so terrible. "You seem quiet," he said, looking up from his phone. "Just thinking about tonight." "Nervous? Do not be. It is just another one of Mom's parties. Just another party. Right. Except this one would end with his entire world falling apart." After he left, I took a long bath. I needed to center myself, to prepare mentally for what was coming. The plan was solid. Jerome had confirmed the box would be delivered at exactly 11:30. Darius had the video ready to play, accessible from my phone. Simone had the divorce papers prepared for delivery first thing January 2nd. My family was ready too. Mom and Kenneth would not be at the party, but they would be waiting at a hotel nearby, ready to pick me up when I walked out. I had already given them a key to my new apartment. They had stocked it with basics so I would not have to worry about anything for a few days. Everything was arranged. I spent the afternoon getting ready slowly, deliberately. I did my makeup carefully, focusing on looking strong and beautiful. Not for Brandon or his family, but for myself. I needed to feel powerful tonight. The red dress fit perfectly. Bright, bold, impossible to ignore. I had chosen it specifically because Patricia hated when I wore red. She said it was too attention-seeking. Well, tonight I wanted all the attention. I paired it with simple gold jewelry. The earrings Brandon had given me for Christmas went back in their box. I would leave them here with everything else that belonged to this life. At 6:30, Brandon came home to change. He looked at me and whistled. "Wow, you look amazing." "Thank you. That dress is really red." "Yes, it is. Mom might say something." "Let her." He looked surprised but shrugged. "Okay. If you are happy, I am happy." What a lie. He was only happy when he was with Rachel. But I just smiled and finished getting ready. We drove to Patricia's estate in silence. The house was already lit up like a Christmas display, with cars lining the circular driveway. Valets were parking vehicles. A catering staff moved in and out of the house carrying trays. Patricia had spared no expense as usual. Big turnout, Brandon commented. She invited everyone, I said. Which was perfect. The more people who witnessed what was about to happen, the better. Patricia met us at the door, wearing a designer gown that probably cost more than some people's cars. Her smile was predatory. Naomi, that is quite the dress. Thank you, Patricia. You look lovely too. Well, come in. Brandon, your father needs you in the study. Something about the Johnson account. Brandon kissed my cheek and disappeared. Patricia looked at me, her smile sharpening. You seem different tonight. Do I? Yes. Almost confident. It is strange on you. I smiled back. Maybe I am just excited for the new year. Fresh starts and all that. Yes. Fresh starts. Her eyes glittered. She thought she knew what was coming. She thought tonight would end with me humiliated and broken. She had no idea. Vanessa found me near the bar, wearing a sequin dress that was trying too hard. Naomi, glad you could make it. As if I had a choice. Would not miss it. This year is going to be so different, she said, sipping her champagne. I can just feel it. Big changes coming. You have no idea, I said. She laughed, thinking I was making small talk. I excused myself and moved through the party, greeting people I had known for years. Business associates of Brandon's family. Society friends of Patricia's. People who had always been polite to my face while probably agreeing with the family's assessment that I was not good enough. Some of them would feel guilty after tonight. Others would not. I had made peace with both possibilities. At 9 o'clock I checked my phone. A text from Jerome, package is ready. On schedule. Another text from Darius, video is queued up. Just click the link when ready. Another from Simone, you can still back out. But if you do this, I am with you all the way. I was not backing out. I responded to each of them. Thank you. Let's do this. Mom texted too. We love you. We are proud of you. Call us when it is done. Kenneth sent, go get them. The party continued around me. People laughed and drank and talked about their vacation plans. The catering staff circulated with fancy appetizers. A live band played in the ballroom. Everything was elegant and expensive and fake. At 10 o'clock I saw Rachel arrive. She walked in wearing a silver dress, her arm linked with a man I did not recognize. Her date, presumably to make things look innocent. But I saw the way she looked around the room, searching. When her eyes found Brandon across the crowd, they shared a look that made my stomach turn. I walked over to her. Rachel. So nice to see you here. She looked startled. Naomi. I hope it is okay that I came. Brandon mentioned his family was hosting and said I should stop by. Of course. Any friend of Brandon's is welcome. I smiled sweetly. You look beautiful. Silver is definitely your color. Thank you. She looked uncomfortable, probably wondering why I was being nice. Have fun tonight, I said, patting her arm. It is going to be memorable. I walked away, leaving her confused. Let her wonder. At 11, Patricia called for everyone's attention. The moment I had been dreading and anticipating in equal measure. Thank you all for coming to celebrate with us tonight, she announced from the center of the ballroom. As we prepare to ring in the new year, the Fletcher family wants to thank you for your friendship and support. We have some exciting announcements to make at midnight. People applauded politely. I saw Vanessa smirking. Brandon looked nervous but determined. This was when they planned to show their fake evidence, to destroy me in front of everyone. But I was about to ruin their plan. At 11:15 I excused myself to the bathroom. Really, I went outside to call Jerome. Is the package in place? Being delivered to the front door right now. Staff will bring it in. Perfect. At 11:20, I watched as staff members carried in a large blue box with silver ribbon. Patricia looked curious. This was not part of her plan. What is that? She asked a staff member. A delivery, ma'am. Special gift for the party. Instructions say to open it before midnight. Patricia looked pleased, probably thinking a guest had sent something lavish. Well, bring it here. Vanessa, help me open it. This was it. I moved to a position where I could see everything but also be near the exit. My heart was pounding but my hands were steady. Years of practicing calm in the face of their criticism had prepared me for this. Patricia and Vanessa tore off the ribbon and opened the box. I watched their faces as they saw what was inside. The folders. The labels. The flash drive. Patricia's face went white. Vanessa actually gasped. What? Patricia started, pulling out Brandon's folder. She opened it and I saw the exact moment she realized what she was looking at. Photos of Brandon and Rachel. Phone records. Hotel receipts. Vanessa grabbed her own folder and went pale as she saw the embezzlement evidence. Brandon pushed through the crowd. Mom, what is going on? She held up a photo. Him and Rachel kissing. Even from across the room I could see his face drain of color. The crowd had gone quiet, sensing drama. This was my moment. I walked to the center of the room, pulling out my phone. I can explain, I said loudly. I sent that gift. I thought it was time everyone knew the truth. Every eye in the ballroom turned to me. The band stopped playing. Conversations died mid-sentence. The only sound was the soft clink of champagne glasses as people set them down, sensing something important was about to happen. Patricia recovered first, her face transforming from shock to fury. Naomi, what is this nonsense? It is not nonsense. It is the truth. I kept my voice steady and clear. You see, I found out something interesting 2 weeks ago. At your Christmas dinner, actually. While I was looking for the bathroom, I overheard you, Vanessa, and Brandon planning to humiliate me tonight. You created fake evidence of me cheating. You were going to show it at midnight and destroy my reputation. Gasps rippled through the crowd. People started murmuring. That is ridiculous, Patricia said, but her voice wavered. Is it? Should I play the recording? I held up my phone. I have audio of you discussing the photographer you hired to create fake pictures of me. The whole plan is documented. Brandon stepped forward. Naomi, you are confused. We were not. Do not, I said sharply. Do not lie to me anymore. I know everything, Brandon. About Rachel. About the affair you have been having for 6 months. About how you used company money to take her on trips. About how you plan to divorce me and keep everything after destroying my reputation with lies. Rachel, standing near the back, looked like she wanted to disappear into the floor. I have proof, I continued. Photos, videos, phone records, financial documents. All of it is in those folders. All of it is real. Unlike the fake evidence you created of me. Vanessa tried to interrupt. You have no right to. I have every right. You tried to destroy my life. I am simply showing everyone who you really are. And Vanessa, before you say anything else, maybe explain to your mother why there is evidence of you embezzling from the family business in your folder. Vanessa's face went scarlet. Patricia turned to her daughter. What is she talking about? I can explain. Vanessa started. I'm sure you can. But first, let me show everyone the video. I clicked the link on my phone. The large screen in the ballroom, which Patricia had set up for her planned humiliation of me, flickered to life. Darius had outdone himself. The video started with a title card, The Truth About the Fletcher Family. Then it began. Photos of Brandon and Rachel together, time-stamped and dated. Video footage of them at restaurants holding hands, kissing. Audio recordings of their phone conversations, discussing their relationship and laughing about me. The ballroom was dead silent except for the audio from the video. I watched faces in the crowd change from confusion to shock to disgust. Some people looked at Brandon with contempt. Others looked at Rachel, who had tears streaming down her face. The video showed financial records next. Company funds used for hotel rooms. Expensive gifts purchased with business accounts. A clear paper trail of Brandon misusing family business money for his affair. Then came the recordings from the Christmas dinner. Patricia's voice, cold and calculating, discussing the fake evidence plan. Vanessa agreeing enthusiastically. Brandon going along with it, complaining about me, saying he could not wait to be rid of me. By the time the video ended, several people had left. Others stood frozen, staring at the screen or at the Fletcher family. Patricia tried to salvage the situation. This is some kind of mistake. Naomi has clearly doctored these. Nothing is doctored, I said calmly. Everything in that video is real and verified. I have a private investigator and a lawyer who can confirm it. I also have backup copies in multiple locations, so do not try to make this disappear with your money and connections. I looked at Brandon. He was staring at me like he did not recognize me. Good. Because I did not recognize him either. You know what hurts the most? I said loud enough for everyone to hear. Not that you cheated. Not even that you fell out of love with me. It is that you were too much of a coward to just tell me the truth. You would rather destroy me publicly, humiliate me in front of everyone we know, than just be honest. Naomi, He started, but I held up my hand. I do not want to hear it. I do not want your apologies or explanations. I wanted you all to feel what I felt that night when I overheard your plan. Betrayed. Humiliated. Exposed. I turned to address the whole room. I'm sorry you all had to witness this, but the Fletcher family was planning to do the same thing to me with lies. I am just using the truth. I pulled out an envelope from my purse. Brandon, consider yourself served. These are divorce papers. My lawyer will be in touch. I want my fair share of the business I helped build, and I want out of this family. I handed him the envelope. He took it automatically, still in shock. Patricia, Vanessa, I have nothing to say to you. You never wanted me in this family anyway. Now you do not have to pretend anymore. I looked at Rachel, who was crying openly now. And you can have him. Good luck. When he gets bored of you, he will do the same thing to you that he did to me. Men who cheat with you will cheat on you. I turned to leave and then stopped, turning back. Oh, and Patricia? She looked at me with pure hatred. You asked earlier if I seem different. I am. Because I am not afraid of you anymore. None of you. You spent years making me feel small and inadequate. But I am done letting you define my worth. I know who I am. And I know I deserve better than this family. I walked toward the exit. The crowd parted for me like the Red Sea. Some people looked sympathetic. A few women gave me slight nods of approval. Most just stared. As I reached the door, my phone rang. I looked at the caller ID. Patricia. I answered, putting it on speaker so the nearby guests could hear. Yes. Where the hell are you? Patricia's voice was shaking with rage. I am leaving your party. Did you really think I would stay? Get back here right now. We need to talk about this. This disaster you have created. Disaster I created? You created this when you decided to plot against me. When you raised a son who thinks cheating and lying are acceptable. When you built a family based on appearances and money instead of actual values. You have ruined us, she hissed. No, Patricia. You ruined yourselves. I just made sure everyone could see it. This is not over. Actually, it is. Completely over. I'm done with all of you. Enjoy explaining tonight to everyone who matters in your social circle. I'm sure it will be fun. I hung up and walked out of the house. The cold December air hit my face and I took a deep breath. Behind me, I could hear the party dissolving into chaos. Raised voices. Someone crying. Cars starting as guests made hasty exits. A black car was waiting at the end of the driveway. Mom and Kenneth. I got in and Kenneth immediately pulled me into a hug. You did it, he said. You actually did it. How do you feel? Mom asked, studying my face. I thought about it. Free. Terrified. Relieved. Sad. Angry. Everything all at once. That sounds about right, Mom said gently. As Kenneth drove away from the estate, I looked back one last time. The house was still lit up, still beautiful from the outside. But inside, the Fletcher family was dealing with the consequences of their actions. My phone buzzed with texts. Some from people at the party expressing support. Others from family members defending Brandon. A few from former friends saying I had gone too far. I turned off my phone. I did not need to read any of it tonight. Where to? Kenneth asked. The hotel. I just want to sleep. At the hotel, Mom had booked us a suite. She had brought comfortable clothes for me to change into. I took off the red dress, washed off my makeup, and put on sweatpants and a t-shirt. Then I sat on the bed and let myself cry. Mom sat next to me, rubbing my back. Kenneth ordered room service. And slowly the adrenaline drained away, leaving me exhausted. What happens now? I asked. Now you rest, Mom said. Tomorrow you start your new life. But tonight you rest. I fell asleep on the hotel bed, surrounded by my real family. The people who loved me without conditions. Who supported me without asking me to be someone I was not. Outside, fireworks started going off. Midnight. The new year had arrived. And for the first time in 5 years I was facing it as myself. Not as Brandon's wife. Not as Patricia's disappointing daughter-in-law. Just Naomi. It was the best New Year's gift I could have asked for. I woke up on New Year's Day with a splitting headache and a sense of unreality. Had last night really happened? Had I really just blown up my entire life in front of 100 people? My phone, which I had turned back on, confirmed it. 63 text messages. 27 missed calls. Dozens of social media notifications. The story was everywhere. Kenneth knocked on my door. You awake? Unfortunately. He came in with coffee and a sympathetic look. It is trending on social media. Someone filmed parts of it. Of course they did. I sipped the coffee. It was too hot, but I did not care. Do you want to see? No. Yes. I do not know. He showed me his phone anyway. The video was shaky but clear enough. You could see me talking, the screen behind me showing the evidence, Patricia's face going pale. The comments section was brutal and divided. Some people praised me for standing up for myself. Others called me vindictive and cruel. A few thought the whole thing was staged for attention. Do not read the comments, Kenneth advised. Nothing good ever comes from reading comments. Mom came in with breakfast. Eat something. Then we will go to your new apartment and get you settled. I do not know if I can face the world today. You do not have to. Not yet. Take time to process what happened. But the world was not going to wait for me to process. At 10 a.m. my phone rang. Simone. How are you holding up? She asked. I have been better. I have definitely been worse too. Well, I have news. Brandon's lawyer contacted me this morning. He wants to negotiate a settlement. Already? The video evidence is damning. They know if this goes to court he will be destroyed. They are willing to offer you a fair division of assets including your share of the business value. How fair? Very fair. More than I expected, honestly. I think they want this to go away quietly. Too late for that. Simone laughed. True. But legally it works in your favor. Do you want me to negotiate? Yes. Get me everything I deserve. I earned it. Consider it done. After I hung up, Mom convinced me to shower and get dressed. We drove to my new apartment, a bright space on the 3rd floor of a modern building. It was smaller than the house I had shared with Brandon, but it was mine. All mine. Mom and Kenneth had already stocked the fridge and pantry. They had set up the bedroom with fresh sheets. There were flowers on the counter with a card, "To new beginnings. Love, Mom and Dad." Thank you, I said, feeling tears well up again. For everything. You are our daughter, Mom said simply. This is what family does. We spent the day unpacking my things from storage. My clothes, my books, my grandmother's quilt. Things that belonged to me that had nothing to do with the Fletcher family. My phone kept ringing. Patricia called 5 times. I did not answer. Brandon called 3 times. I blocked his number. Vanessa sent a long text message calling me horrible names. I deleted it without finishing. But I also received calls from people I had not expected. Old college friends reaching out with support. Former coworkers saying they had always liked me. A few clients from the family business asking if I was starting my own company because they would love to work with me. Not everyone had abandoned me. That was something. That evening, Jerome called. I have been following the fallout. How are you doing? Surviving. Is that normal? Completely. You just blew up your life. It is going to take time to figure out who you are outside of that marriage. Did I do the right thing? He was quiet for a moment. That is not for me to say. But I will tell you this. They were planning to destroy you with lies. You stopped them with truth. Whether that was right or wrong depends on your moral compass, not mine. I keep thinking I should feel more satisfied. Like revenge should feel better than this. Revenge never feels as good as people think it will. Because you are not a cruel person, Naomi. You did not enjoy hurting them. You just needed them to stop hurting you. That made sense. Thank you, Jerome. For everything. Anytime. And hey, if you ever need investigative work for that consulting business I hear you are starting, give me a call. After hanging up, I made myself dinner in my new kitchen. Just pasta and sauce, nothing fancy. But it was mine. I cooked it. I chose what to eat and when. Such small freedoms. Such important ones. Day 2 post-explosion brought more consequences. News outlets picked up the story. Not major news, but local gossip columns and social media influencers. Local socialite family scandal, one headline read. Wife exposes cheating husband at New Year's party, said another. My name was everywhere. Photos of me in that red dress walking out of the party. Speculation about what would happen to the Fletcher family business. Commentary on whether I had gone too far. I tried not to read it, but it was impossible to completely avoid. Simone called with updates on the divorce. They are being very cooperative. Suspiciously cooperative, actually. What do you mean? I think they are terrified you will sue them for defamation over the fake evidence plot. So they are giving you what you want in hopes you will go away quietly. Will I sue them? Do you want to? I thought about it. More legal battles. More publicity. More time spent thinking about them instead of moving forward. No. I just want to be done. Then we will finalize the divorce as quickly as possible. You will get your settlement. They will get their privacy back. Everyone moves on. Sounds perfect. Over the next few days I started building my new life in earnest. I registered my business officially. I created a website. I reached out to potential clients. I joined a gym near my apartment. I bought plants for my living room. Small steps, but they added up. A week after the party, I received a letter. Not from Brandon or his family, but from Rachel. I almost threw it away without reading it, but curiosity won. Naomi, it began. I do not expect you to forgive me. I know what I did was wrong. I know I helped hurt you. I'm not writing to make excuses. I just wanted you to know that Brandon and I are over. After that night, I realized I did not really know him at all. The man who could plot to destroy his wife like that is not someone I want to be with. You were right about what you said. If he did it to you, he would do it to me. I'm sorry for my part in your pain. I hope you find happiness. Rachel. I read it twice. Then I threw it away. Her guilt was not my problem. Her regrets were not my concern. She made her choices. Now she had to live with them. Just like I had to live with mine. By day 10, the public interest had mostly died down. People moved on to the next scandal. My phone stopped ringing constantly. The text messages slowed to a trickle. In the quiet, I could finally hear myself think. Had I done the right thing? I still did not know. But I knew I had done the honest thing. I had refused to be destroyed by lies. I had fought back with truth. That had to count for something. 2 weeks after the party, I met with Simone to sign the final divorce papers. We sat in her office, documents spread across her desk, and I felt strangely calm. This is it, Simone said. Once you sign these, the marriage is officially over pending the judge's approval, which is a formality at this point. How much am I getting? Half the value of the house which you are waiving your right to live in. A lump sum payment of $600,000 representing your share of the business growth during your marriage. Your retirement accounts remain yours. The car in your name is yours. He keeps his car and his personal accounts. $600,000 was a lot of money. More than I had ever had at once. But it also represented 5 years of my life. 5 years of work, of trying, of believing in something that turned out to be a lie. And the business? I asked. You are relinquishing all future claims to Fletcher Enterprises in exchange for this settlement. They wanted a clean break. Good. So do I. I signed every page. My hand was steady. When I finished, Simone witnessed the signatures and put the documents in a folder. Congratulations, she said. You are about to be a very free, very independent woman. It feels weird. 5 years ago, I thought I was signing papers that would tie me to him forever. Now I am signing papers to undo all of that. That is life sometimes. Things do not go how we plan. We went to lunch after, celebrating in a low-key way. Simone told me about her own divorce years ago, how hard it had been but also how liberating. You will look back on this someday and realize it was the best thing that could have happened, she said. I know that sounds impossible right now. It really does. But trust me, you are going to build something amazing from this. I can already tell. That afternoon, I met with my first official client for my new consulting business. A small startup that needed help with their marketing strategy. The owner, a woman named Diane, had seen the news about me and reached out specifically. I like that you stood up for yourself, she said during our meeting. It tells me you are not a pushover. That you have a backbone. Those are qualities I want in someone helping to build my company. We talked strategy for 2 hours. It felt good to use my brain for something productive instead of dwelling on the past. By the end of the meeting, she had signed a 6-month contract. My first client. My first real income that had nothing to do with the Fletcher family. Felt amazing. Over the next few weeks, I settled into a routine. Wake up. Exercise. Work on my business. Cook dinner. Read. Sleep. Simple, predictable, mine. I joined a book club at the local library. I took a pottery class on weekends. I reconnected with friends I had lost touch with during my marriage. Slowly, I started remembering who I was before Brandon. The woman who loved art museums and terrible reality TV. Who could spend hours cooking complicated meals just for fun. Who laughed loudly and did not apologize for taking up space. That woman had gotten lost somewhere in the last 5 years. But she was coming back. 1 month after the party, I ran into Vanessa at a coffee shop. I almost turned around and left, but she saw me first. Naomi. She looked uncomfortable. Vanessa. Can we talk? Just for a minute? I almost said no. But curiosity won. Fine. 1 minute. We sat at a corner table. She looked tired, older somehow. I wanted to apologize, she said. For which part? Planning to humiliate me? Embezzling from your family business? Or just generally being terrible? She flinched. All of it. I know you have no reason to forgive me, but I needed to say it anyway. What we did was wrong. What I did was wrong. Yes, it was. The family is falling apart. Dad is furious about the embezzlement. He is making me pay back every cent. Mom and Brandon are not speaking. The business is struggling because clients do not trust us anymore. Everything is a mess. And you are telling me this because? Because I want you to know that we are paying for what we did. If that matters to you. I looked at her. Really looked at her. She was miserable. And part of me, a small part, felt sorry for her. But mostly I just felt nothing. It does not matter to me, I said honestly. What happens to your family is not my concern anymore. I do not wish you well. I do not wish you ill. I just do not think about you at all. Her face crumpled. I deserve that. Yes, you do. I stood up to leave. She grabbed my arm. Naomi, wait. Is there anything I can do? To make things right? There is nothing to make right. What is done is done. We all move forward from here. Can you at least tell me that you are okay? That would help somehow. I pulled my arm away gently. I am better than okay, Vanessa. I am free. That is more than I ever was in your family. I left her sitting there and walked out into the sunshine. My phone buzzed. A new client inquiry. Another opportunity. Life was moving forward whether the Fletcher family came with it or not. By the end of February, my business was doing well. I had 5 regular clients and several project-based contracts. The money was not quite matching what I had made at Fletcher Enterprises yet, but it was growing. More importantly, I was happy. Really, genuinely happy for the first time in years. I woke up excited about my day. I went to bed satisfied with what I had accomplished. I laughed more. I worried less. I stopped checking social media to see what people were saying about me. The divorce was finalized in early March. I received the notification by email. Just like that, 5 years of marriage were legally over. I took myself out to dinner that night. A nice restaurant, my favorite food, a bottle of good wine. I sat alone at a table for 2 and realized I was not lonely. I was just alone. And there was a big difference. Celebrating something? The waiter asked when he brought dessert. Yes, I said, smiling. My independence. He grinned. That is worth celebrating for sure. When I got home that night, I stood in my apartment and looked around. It was not fancy like the house with Brandon had been, but it was peaceful. It was honest. It was real. And it was all mine. I had no idea what the future would bring. Maybe I would meet someone new someday. Maybe I would stay single. Maybe my business would become huge. Maybe it would stay small and manageable. But whatever happened, it would be on my terms. Nobody would manipulate me again. Nobody would make me feel small again. Nobody would take away my voice again. I had learned the hard way that sometimes the people who claim to love you are the ones who hurt you most. But I had also learned that I was strong enough to walk away. Strong enough to rebuild. Strong enough to start over. The Fletcher family had tried to break me. Instead, they had freed me. And that, I realized, was the best revenge of all. Spring arrived slowly, then all at once. By April, my new life had a rhythm I never thought possible 3 months ago. I woke up without dread. I went to sleep without anger. The constant knot in my stomach had finally loosened. My consulting business was growing faster than I had projected. 8 regular clients now, with 3 more in negotiation. Word had spread that I was good at what I did, and more importantly, that I was trustworthy. People who had watched the Fletcher family scandal play out seemed to respect that I had handled it with evidence and truth rather than just spite. One morning, I got a call from an unfamiliar number. I almost did not answer, but something made me pick up. Naomi Thompson? A woman's voice. Yes. My name is Margaret Chin. I am the CEO of Brightside Marketing. I have been following your work, and I would like to discuss a potential partnership. Brightside Marketing was one of the biggest firms in the city. I had dreamed of working with them once, years ago, before Brandon convinced me that joining his family business was a better opportunity. I am listening, I said, trying to keep my voice professional despite my racing heart. Your approach to brand authenticity is exactly what we have been looking for. I would like you to come in and meet with our team. We are looking for a senior consultant, someone who can lead our authenticity division. The position would be part-time to start, allowing you to maintain your own clients. But there is potential for it to grow into something more. We scheduled a meeting for the following week. After hanging up, I sat at my kitchen table and let it sink in. 6 months ago, I was overheard my in-laws planning to destroy me. Now, I was being recruited by one of the top firms in my field. Life had a funny way of working out. The meeting with Brightside went even better than I hoped. Margaret was sharp and direct, exactly my kind of person. She laid out the position clearly. "We need someone who understands that authenticity cannot be faked," she said. "Someone who knows how to help companies find their genuine voice. Based on your portfolio and your reputation, you are that person." "My reputation?" I asked carefully. She smiled. "You mean the scandal?" "Naomi, let me be blunt. What happened at that party showed you have integrity. You could have taken the easy route, let them destroy you quietly and walked away with nothing. Instead, you fought back with truth. That is the kind of person we want representing our firm." I accepted the position on the spot. That night, I called Mom to tell her the news. "I am so proud of you, baby," she said, and I could hear tears in her voice. "Look at you building this amazing career. I could not have done it without you and Dad and Kenneth. You kept me sane through everything. That is what family is for. The real kind of family." In May, something unexpected happened. I was at a coffee shop working on a presentation when someone approached my table. "Naomi?" I looked up to see Brandon's father, Richard Fletcher. I had not seen him since the party. He looked older, more worn than I remembered. "Mr. Fletcher, can I sit? Just for a moment." I gestured to the empty chair. "If you must." He sat down heavily. "I owe you an apology." "You owe me several, actually." "Yes, I do." He was quiet for a moment. "I did not know about their plan to humiliate you. Patricia, Vanessa, Brandon. They kept it from me. When I found out what they had done, what they had been planning to do, I was horrified. And yet you are still with them. Patricia is my wife. Brandon is my son. I cannot just walk away from family." "I did." He nodded slowly. "You did. And I do not blame you. They treated you terribly. I treated you terribly by allowing it. Why are you telling me this? Because you deserved better. Because I should have stood up for you and I did not. Because my family's behavior was inexcusable." He pulled out an envelope. "This is a personal check. Not from the business. From me. Consider it a belated acknowledgement of how much value you added to our company and our family." I did not open it. "I do not want your money, Mr. Fletcher. I got what I was owed in the settlement." "Then donate it. Use it for your business. I do not care. I just need you to know that not everyone in that family was comfortable with what happened. But you did not stop it." "No, I did not. And I will regret that." He stood up to leave, then paused. "Brandon is miserable if it matters. The affair with Rachel ended badly. His reputation is damaged. He comes to work and goes home. That is his whole life now." "It does not matter," I said honestly. "His life is not my concern anymore." "I suppose not. For what it is worth, Naomi, I always liked you. I wish I had shown it better." After he left, I opened the envelope. The check was for $100,000. I stared at it for a long time, then folded it back up. I would cash it, I decided. Not because I needed it, but because it was an acknowledgement. Then I would donate half to a women's shelter and use the other half to expand my business. Money from the Fletcher family put to good use helping other women escape bad situations. That seemed fitting. June brought more growth. My partnership with Brightside was thriving. My independent client list was full. I had to turn down new projects because I did not have enough hours in the day. "You should hire help," Simone suggested during one of our now regular lunch dates. "I am thinking about it. Maybe an assistant to start." "Look at you becoming a boss. Who would have thought?" We laughed and I realized how much had changed. 6 months ago I was planning revenge. Now I was planning expansion. I hired an assistant in July. A recent graduate named Tina who was eager and smart and reminded me of myself at that age. Teaching her, mentoring her, felt good. It felt like building something that mattered. My apartment started to feel like home. I had decorated it exactly how I wanted. Bright colors, plants everywhere, art on the walls that I had chosen. No Patricia to criticize my choices. No Brandon to veto my decisions. Just me making my space my own. I dated a little, nothing serious. A few dinners, a couple of movies. It was nice to remember that not all men were like Brandon. But I was not ready for anything serious. Maybe I never would be. And that was okay too. One evening in August, my doorbell rang unexpectedly. I opened it to find a delivery person with a huge bouquet of flowers. "Naomi Thompson?" "That is me. These are for you." I took the flowers, confused. The card read, "Thank you for everything. Your honesty changed my life. Rachel." I stared at the card for a long moment, then threw the flowers in the trash. I did not need her gratitude or her attempts at redemption. Some bridges were meant to stay burned. By September, I realized I had not thought about the Fletcher family in weeks. Not with anger, not with sadness, not at all. They had become background noise in my history, not the main story of my life. That felt like progress. The year was turning out nothing like I had planned 12 months ago. But it was turning out better than I could have imagined when I stood in Patricia's hallway, listening to them plot my destruction. I had survived. More than that, I had thrived. And the best part? I had done it on my own terms with my own strength, building something real and honest and mine. The revenge I had planned had been immediate and satisfying. But this life I was building was the real payback. Living well. Being happy. Moving forward. That was the ultimate victory. By October, almost a full year had passed since that terrible Christmas dinner. I marked the anniversary by taking myself on a trip to Hawaii, something I had always wanted to do but never did because Brandon preferred mountain vacations and Patricia insisted family trips were more appropriate than romantic getaways. Now I was going alone. And it felt perfect. I spent a week in Maui, staying at a small beachfront hotel. I woke up early to watch sunrises over the ocean. I spent days hiking and snorkeling and exploring. I ate what I wanted when I wanted. I read books on the beach. I took surfing lessons and fell off the board 100 times and laughed about it. Nobody knew me there. Nobody knew my story. I was just Naomi, a woman on vacation. One evening, I sat at a beachside bar watching the sunset. A woman about my age sat down next to me and ordered a drink. "Beautiful, is not it?" she said, gesturing at the orange and pink sky. "Gorgeous. Are you here alone?" "Yes. First solo vacation." She smiled. "Me too. Divorced 6 months ago. Decided I needed to prove to myself I could do things alone." We talked for hours. Her name was Jennifer, and her story was different from mine but similar in the ways that mattered. A marriage that stopped working. A difficult split. The struggle to rebuild. "Do you miss it?" she asked. "Being married?" I thought about it. No. I miss who I thought he was. But that person did not exist. So really, I do not miss anything real. That is a healthy way to look at it. It took me a while to get here. We exchanged numbers before the night ended, promising to stay in touch. And surprisingly, we did. Jennifer became one of my closest friends, someone who understood the journey from married to independent. When I returned from Hawaii, I felt renewed. I had proven to myself that I could be happy alone. That I could enjoy my own company. That I did not need someone else to make my life complete. November brought unexpected news. Richard Fletcher had stepped down as CEO of Fletcher Enterprises. The official reason was retirement, but rumors suggested the family scandals had hurt the business too much. Brandon had taken over, but from what I heard through industry connections, he was struggling. I felt nothing about it. Not satisfaction, not pity, nothing. They were strangers now, people I used to know in another life. My business continued to grow. I hired a second assistant and a part-time graphic designer. We moved into a small office space, nothing fancy but professional. Tina had turned out to be invaluable, handling details I did not have time for and bringing fresh ideas to client projects. "I love working here," she told me one day. "You actually listen to me. My last boss never did." Of course I listen. Good ideas come from everywhere. Not everyone thinks like that. It made me realize how much Patricia and Brandon had never listened to me. How many ideas I had shared that were dismissed or ignored. How much of myself I had silenced trying to fit their expectations. Never again. December arrived, and with it came the 1-year anniversary of the New Year's Eve party. I thought about marking it somehow but decided against it. That night had been about ending something. This year was about celebrating what I had built since. Instead, I planned my own party. A small gathering at my apartment with real friends. Mom and Dad. Kenneth and his girlfriend. Simone and her partner. Jerome and his wife. Diane from my first client meeting. Tina and a few other colleagues. Jennifer, who flew in from California. We ate good food and drank wine and laughed until my sides hurt. At midnight, we toasted to new beginnings. To Naomi, Mom said, raising her glass. Who showed us all what strength looks like. To facing hard truths, Simone added. To starting over, Jennifer said. To living authentically, I finished. We clinked glasses and I looked around at these people. My real people. The ones who had supported me, believed in me, stayed with me through the hardest year of my life. This was family. Not blood or marriage certificates. Just love and respect and genuine care. After everyone left, I stood on my balcony looking at the city lights. 1 year ago, I had been planning revenge. Tonight, I was celebrating freedom. The revenge had been satisfying, yes. Watching the Fletcher family face consequences for their actions had felt good. But this life I was living now was so much better than any revenge could ever be. I had my own business, my own home, my own friends, my own choices. I had myself back. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Naomi, this is Brandon. I know you probably do not want to hear from me, but I needed to say I am sorry. For everything. You deserved better. I hope you are happy. I mean that." I read it twice, then deleted it without responding. Some apologies come too late. Some bridges are meant to stay burned. Some chapters need to stay closed. I was not interested in his guilt or his growth or his regrets. I was interested in my future. And that future was bright. The next morning, I woke up to an email from a major magazine. They wanted to interview me about building a business after personal crisis. About authenticity in marketing. About starting over. I agreed to do it with one condition. I would not discuss the Fletcher family scandal in detail. I would focus on moving forward, not looking back. The interview ran in January. The headline read, "Naomi Thompson on Building Success from Scratch." The article focused on my business philosophy, my approach to authentic marketing, my thoughts on resilience. The Fletcher situation was mentioned in one paragraph as a difficult divorce that led to a career change. That was it, because that was all it deserved. One paragraph in the story of my life, not the whole narrative. The magazine feature brought more business, more opportunities, more growth. By February, I was making more money than I ever had at Fletcher Enterprises. My client list was impressive. My reputation was solid. My team was growing. I bought a house in March. Not a mansion like Patricia's, but a beautiful 3-bedroom home with a yard and big windows and a kitchen made for cooking. I painted the walls bright colors. I planted a garden. I hung art I loved. It was mine. All mine. No one could take it from me. Mom and Dad came to visit for the housewarming. Kenneth helped me set up furniture. Friends brought food and wine and laughter. Standing in my living room, surrounded by people I loved in a home I had chosen, I felt completely content. "You did it," Kenneth said, hugging me. "You really did it. We did it. I could not have done this without family." "Real family," he corrected. "The only kind that matters." That night, after everyone left, I sat in my backyard under the stars. I thought about where I had been a year and a half ago. Trapped in a marriage to someone who did not love me. Surrounded by people who did not respect me. Losing myself trying to be good enough for people who would never value me. Now I was free. Successful. Happy. Myself. The journey had been painful. The divorce had been messy. The public scandal had been humiliating at times. But I would do it all again in a heartbeat. Because the alternative was staying trapped in that life, slowly disappearing until there was nothing left of me. I had chosen truth over comfort, honesty over acceptance, freedom over security, and it had been worth it. 1 year and 3 months after the New Year's Eve scandal, I was invited to speak at a women's business conference. The topic, building success after setback. I almost declined. Public speaking made me nervous and talking about personal struggles felt exposing. But Simone convinced me. "Your story matters," she said. "Not the scandal part, the survival part, the rebuilding part. Women need to hear that you can come back from having your life fall apart." So I accepted. The conference was in a downtown hotel ballroom. 200 women in business, all looking for inspiration and guidance. I stood backstage wearing a bright blue suit I had bought specifically for this occasion, and tried to calm my racing heart. "You are going to be great," Tina said, squeezing my hand. She had come to support me along with Mom and Jennifer. When they called my name, I walked onto the stage. The lights were bright. The crowd was attentive. And suddenly I was not nervous anymore. I told my story. Not all of it, but the parts that mattered. I talked about being in a situation where I felt powerless. About finding my strength. About choosing to fight for myself. About walking away from security to build something real. The hardest part was not the divorce, I said. It was accepting that I had wasted years trying to be someone I was not. But those years were not really wasted. They taught me what I did not want. And sometimes that is just as valuable as knowing what you do want. I talked about starting my business. About the fear and the doubt and the small victories. About learning to trust myself again. About building a life on my own terms. Success is not about revenge or proving people wrong, I said. It is about building something so good that you stop caring what those people think. It is about living so fully that the past becomes background noise. When I finished, the room erupted in applause. Women stood up. Some were crying. After the speech, dozens of them came to talk to me, to share their own stories, to thank me for being honest. One woman, probably in her 50s, grabbed my hands. "I have been in a bad marriage for 20 years. I thought I was stuck, but you just showed me I am not. Thank you." Another younger woman said, "I just got fired for standing up to my boss's inappropriate behavior. I felt like my career was over, but you proved I can start again." Walking out of that conference, I realized something important. The worst thing that ever happened to me had become something valuable. Not because of the revenge or the scandal, but because of what I learned about myself, about my strength, about my ability to rebuild. A few weeks later, I got an email from Richard Fletcher. It was brief. "Naomi, I saw your speech online. You have built something impressive. I am glad you found your path. Patricia and I are separating. Brandon has stepped down from the company. Vanessa is seeking help for her issues. We are all dealing with the consequences of our actions. I thought you should know that your honesty, while painful, was necessary. Thank you for that, Richard." I did not respond, but I did not delete it either. It was closure of a sort. Acknowledgement that everything that happened had ripple effects that extended far beyond that one night. In June, I hit a major milestone. My business was profitable enough that I could expand significantly if I wanted. I had a choice: stay small and manageable or grow into something bigger. I chose growth. I hired 3 more people. I rented a bigger office space. I invested in better technology and marketing. I took the risk, and it paid off. By summer, I had 15 employees. We had an impressive client roster. We were being featured in business publications. I was being asked to speak at conferences regularly. The girl who had been deemed not good enough by the Fletcher family was now a recognized leader in her field. One afternoon in July, I was at a coffee shop meeting with a potential client when I saw Patricia. She was sitting alone at a corner table looking at her phone. She looked older, tired. Our eyes met for a moment. She looked away first. I felt nothing. Not anger, not satisfaction, nothing. She was just a person I used to know. Someone from another life. I finished my meeting, got my coffee, and left without speaking to her. Because there was nothing left to say. That chapter was closed. In August, something wonderful happened. Kenneth called to tell me he was engaged. "You are going to love her," he said. "She is nothing like, well, you know. Nothing like the Fletcher family?" Exactly. His wedding was planned for the following spring. I was asked to be a bridesmaid, which felt special. Family celebrations, real ones, were something to treasure. September brought another opportunity. A publishing house reached out. They wanted me to write a book about business authenticity and personal resilience. I signed the contract immediately. The book would take a year to write, but I had a story to tell. Not about revenge or scandal, but about finding yourself when everything falls apart. About building something real from ruins. As fall arrived, I reflected on how far I had come. 2 years ago, I was a woman losing herself in a bad marriage. 1 year ago, I was a woman rebuilding from rubble. Now, I was a woman thriving on her own terms. The Fletcher family had tried to break me. Instead, they had freed me. They had pushed me out of their world and forced me to build my own. And my world was beautiful. On the 2-year anniversary of that Christmas dinner, I hosted a celebration at my house. The same core group plus new friends I had made along the way. We cooked together, laughed together, toasted to the future. 2 years, Simone said. Can you believe it? Honestly, no. Sometimes it feels like a lifetime ago. Sometimes it feels like yesterday. Do you ever regret how you handled it? The public exposure? I thought about it. No. They were planning to destroy me publicly with lies. I just beat them to it with truth. If I could go back, I might do it differently. Maybe quieter. But I do not regret standing up for myself. Good. You should not. That night, after everyone left, I sat in my backyard with a glass of wine. I thought about Brandon, probably sitting in some apartment regretting his choices. About Patricia, dealing with her divorce and her damaged reputation. About Vanessa, working to rebuild trust with her family. I did not wish them harm. But I did not wish them well either. I simply did not think about them much anymore. My life was too full of good things to waste time on people who had treated me poorly. I had my business, my home, my family, my friends, my health, my happiness. I had survived the worst thing I could imagine and come out stronger on the other side. The best revenge I had learned was not the moment of exposure. It was not the public humiliation or the consequences they faced. The best revenge was this. Sitting in my own backyard, in my own home, living my own life, being completely and authentically myself. The best revenge was being happy. As I looked up at the stars, I made a promise to myself. I would never again sacrifice who I was to fit someone else's expectations. I would never again stay quiet to keep the peace. I would never again make myself smaller to make someone else comfortable. I was enough. I had always been enough. The Fletcher family's inability to see that was their failure, not mine. 2 years ago, I thought my life was over. Tonight, I knew it was just beginning. And that beginning was beautiful. The end of my story with Brandon was not a tragedy. It was a liberation. Yes, it hurt. Yes, it was hard. Yes, there were days I wanted to give up. But I did not give up. I fought back. I rebuilt. I thrived. And now, standing in my own backyard, successful and happy and free, I could say with absolute certainty, I won. Not because I destroyed them, but because I refused to let them destroy me. Not because I got revenge, but because I got my life back. Not because I proved them wrong, but because I proved to myself that I was stronger than I ever knew. The Fletcher family was my past, but my future? That was all mine. And it was going to be spectacular.